All right, let's talk Miami Hurricanes football. Obviously, Coach Cristobal is leading this program through one heck of an offseason. They did a great job making some short-term moves, some moves for the medium term, and of course, some long-term recruiting successes as well. And Coach Cristobal and company aren't done making big-time moves. We got one new coaching addition that has become official. Let's go right into the report, and we'll talk about how it's going to be so impactful on the other side. This is courtesy of Canes Warning. The Miami football program officially added national championship experience to its coaching staff on Wednesday with the announcement that Shavar Jackson is the Hurricanes' new defensive backs coach. Jackson played on LSU's 2007 national championship team. Jackson then returned to LSU as a graduate assistant in 2015. Ball State then hired Jackson for his first on-field coaching job, with the defensive backs, where he remained through 2018. Kansas then hired Jackson as DB coach for his first on-field position with a Power 5 program from 2019 through 2021. Marshall then hired Jackson during the 2022 offseason. Jackson should thrive as a recruiter with Miami. In 2017, he was the top recruiter for the Mid American Conference, and he was credited with 11 signees for Ball State in 2017. To that point, Jackson should provide Miami with another pipeline to the state of Alabama. He's a Mobile native, and Louisiana, since he's an LSU alum. All right, this has been reported going on behind the scenes for a few days now. It is official. Shavis Jackson is joining the Miami Hurricanes coaching staff. I think it's a great hire for Miami. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are. But first, Hurricanes fans, look, spring ball really ain't that far away. Like, we're about to put the pads on in a few weeks. Got to get you excited there. In the comment section below, give us the one Miami Hurricane that no one's really talking about that you think is going to be a breakout player starting over spring practice and, of course, heading into the regular season. Give us your breakout Miami Hurricanes player in the comment section below. But Myers, what are your thoughts on this news and what it means for Miami going forward?
Yeah, Nick, I think it's a really great move for Miami. There's a couple different aspects here that I think he brings to the table. First off, is as a recruiter, I think he's going to be really crucial. We talk about the potential for the Alabama LSU pipeline additions with a guy like Jackson coming to the fold, being familiar with both of those areas. In 2023, Miami, no recruits from either of those two states. 2024, they have two from Alabama, two from LSU. I likely see that Jackson comes in here. You hopefully help bump those numbers up from getting some top tier recruits from the state of Alabama and Louisiana just because of his experience at both states and Florida's propensity to be close to both of those areas. I think it's a great opportunity for them there to add in some great recruiting in those areas, but also in the DB game. You look at the 2024 class, 4 DBs for Miami, but nobody higher than a 3-star. I think a guy like Jackson coming in, being such a highly touted recruiter, maybe help you get some more 4 stars, getting more 5 stars. Even in 2023, they haven't gotten a 5-star guy to come in to this DB room. So I think that's another aspect that he can bring to the Miami Hurricanes, which will be great. Miami traditionally had a lot of great DBs in the past, too many to name, but I think he adds a little bit extra there. Number two thing I think he brings to this program is the continuity in the coaching staff. Well, he is a new coach, the second new coach they've hired this offseason, running backs coach, and Jackson as well. Miami's new defensive coordinator, new last year, this is coming into his second year, has been familiar with Jackson since they coached together at Marshall. So that helps in that continuity. Miami having such a solid coaching staff, pretty much returning almost everyone from this past season. Bringing in a guy that's already familiar with the defensive coordinator just helps that, keeps things rolling. And continuity in coaching staff is so important to keep a program rolling. So I think this is a great hire by Miami on a bunch of different levels. And I hopefully would like to see how this plays down the road because I think we're going to see a lot of benefit in the recruiting game. And I think we're going to see him fit right into this coaching staff day one and bring a boost to that DB room.
And it never hurts to add another national champion to your coaching staff. And there is a harsh reality with Miami right now because it's been so long since their dominant era. There are a lot of people that outside of the ESPN 30 for 30 documentaries aren't really familiar with the early 2000s Miami Hurricanes football team and how dominant they were, right? Arguably one of the greatest teams of all time over that stretch. And so you have a lot of these kids that are like, okay, great. I have to hear Ed Reed talk to me, Willis McGahee, whoever, got some of these older guys from even the 80s and 90s. and it can fall a little bit on deaf ears, right? Because it's like it just gets tiresome hearing about, oh, what the U was. And look, I'm not blaming the veterans, I'm not blaming the old guys for trying to stress that to the kids. It's just the reality when you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. It's like hearing the same thing from your parents every day. It just becomes noise in one ear and out the other. But if you got a guy who won a national title with a different program from the SEC with LSU, it's got a little bit of different vibe. It's a different source, right? It's almost like if your parents are saying something one ear out the other and it's white noise, but then your fun uncle comes in and says the same thing, then suddenly you'll listen a little bit more as a kid, right? You'll be like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. Even though your fun uncle was saying the same thing, you should just listen to your parents. But just having that extra voice can really just help hit home some of those messages. So I like that in terms of having a strong culture around some of these young players to really buy into that championship mindset. But I do think the most important thing Jackson brings is recruiting. Look, connections to Mobile are huge. That's a football hotbed. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, his connections to the SEC are outstanding. But I actually love the fact he coached in the Mid American Conference, where he has those Marshall Ball State connections, because there's actually a lot of great football in the state of Ohio in terms of high school talent. And I really think programs like Miami, like Florida State, and frankly, a lot of SEC schools, they kind of just shy away from that. I think that's kind of dumb. I think teams and programs in the south part of the United States should have go up there and try and get some of those guys. I think Miami was kind of creating more of a pipeline there as well with this hire and kind of just open up a new avenue for recruiting, because Miami is one of the probably 8, 9 schools that can recruit nationally just based on their name and prestige alone. You look at USC, you look at Texas, you look at Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, right? Miami's right up there with those schools in terms of, hey, everyone knows the University of Miami, everyone knows the U. And I think this gives the Hurricanes just a natural pipeline to another region of the country that maybe some of their top competitors have been kind of avoiding in years past.